Welcome to the Bitter Truth Show, or a show known as Amazima Agakawa, in which we always host Pastor Male, Pastor Moses Solomon Male, an evangelist pastor from Uganda, who shares with us insights into his experiences with church ministry in Uganda, and he helps to empower our audiences, empower our people, and let us know more from the religious angle of his our work. Now, today, we're going to be having Pastor Moses Solomon Male in the studio. This is episode 2, call it part 2 of CULTS,
dear viewers on
understanding
Humans
CULTS.
TV, it's a pleasure again to continue from where we stopped last week. We started our teaching on cults, and this program is called Understanding Cults. So this is the second part on cults. You remember last week I gave you a broad introduction to of the commandments of God. 19th of March 2000 in Kanungu, that is Western Uganda. On that day, I walk to the fires and flames of Kanungu, where many innocent lives, especially women and children, that killed them, movement for the restoration. There was a lady, a woman called Credonia, former Catholic. The second was Joseph Chibwetere, Catholic. They have that they were going to restore belief and faith in the 10 commandments of church. No God besides the Lord God. And secondly, thou shalt not make any molten image.
Pastor Male there sharing with us a brief background on cults in Uganda. You excuse us because the internet is
Thou shalt not make any
disturbing us in
molten
Uganda. Please
whether
continue.
down on earth or in the sky. But what the Catholic Church did was to get the 10 commandments, remove the second worship of idols, cut, then divide into the first part, your neighbor's wife, and the second, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's. Under the surface of it all, the 10 commandments still balanced. Now Joseph Chibwetere and his team come up with predominant Catholic Church only believes 9 commandments. The second was removed. So believers actually saw it. They were saw it, but actually taking them back to the 10 commandments of God. So toward that day, they prepared them. They told them to sell their properties, told them to bring all their possessions, especially wealth, to the 17th. By the morning of the 17th of March 2000, that is Kanungu, and burnt them to ashes. That was the first insight into cults in this country. When the cult was further investigated, it was discovered that there were more graves in Kampala, that is, and in Entebbe. And in all, over 1,000 people lost their lives. But government never investigated fully that. Why? A commission of inquiry was set up. One of the commission was Dr. Mungera. Unfortunately, she passed on. Then there was Uncle Ben Mugaru, others. Whereas that commission of inquiry was established to fulfill its mandate. So that means government actually never investigated the Chibwetere murders, the Kanungu murders. And today, more people continue to die. More people continue to lose their properties. More people continue to be manipulated into. Years ago, I had proposed that the 17th of March always be remembered as a day when we commemorate the death of in so-called places of worship. These are cults. Government has to my idea, although we see government setting up a day for just one man, and that is the late Bishop Janan Loom, setting up a day for women, setting up a day for the heroes, so-called Heroes Day. That is 9th of June. And there are many other days. Many of them are totally actually useless. But this day when we can commemorate and remind ourselves that no one can be free from cults. All people are gullible, whether educated, whether not. People of all walks lost their. And one of the people who actually authenticated that group was the late Chitakagawera, who was an RDC in the Museveni government. In the area, they all authenticated the group, which ended up murdering innocent Ugandans. But even then, more and more people continue to be killed, continue to be manipulated, continue to be ruined. People given unto victims of HIV they claim to have prayed for and healed. People ripped off and they end up dying. People taken off medication. To me, Chibwetere and his group killed in mass on that 17th day of March 2000. But every day, people continue to die. People continue to lose property. People continue to lose loved ones because of cults in this country and the world over. That's why it's imperative that we fully understand what cults are, if we are to avoid what cults are, if we are going to tackle them, what cults are, if we are going to save the masses, especially the poor and the desperate. And what I want people to know is very to tackle cults, because one, for instance, like Uganda, cults kill people where government has not provided services, say in the medical sector, the miracle healing. Where government has not handled well the issue of poverty and poverty eradication, I mean that poverty is a demon. So groups that can stupefy people to focus on the unknown, condemn the unknown, or condemn themselves rather than condemn the sitting government. Those groups, when it comes to churches or leaders who are manipulative, who are dictatorial, who don't want to leave power, they so much use these groups to authenticate their states. And they are the groups which prophesy that, this is the man of God, this is the one that must lead us. So that's why people continue losing lives. And I want to tell you that whether you are in Kenya, as you see that Paul Mackenzie, or whether you are in Nigeria, in Europe, wherever, even cults are ruining people's lives. So that's why we need to understand fully what cults are. And that's why I have chosen not to go colleague, Mr. Kato Mukasa, the other end. He can ask me questions so that I answer for you. I answer.
Yes, sir.
He can question
Thank you so much, sir.
whatever
Yes, I have
question
many
he
questions
has,
from.
and I respond. Because what we
Yes,
want is
I
you
have.
to fully understand. Then that
Thank you,
truth
sir.
will set you free.
Yes,
Yes, my brother.
the truth. What we need in
Mr.
this program is, yes, sir, Mr. Male, what we always need in this
Yeah.
program is the truth. And we don't care if it hurts people, but we want to give them the truth. Now, I would like you to inform our viewers, building from what we did in the last episode, what are cults? Because remember, in the last episode, you gave us one definition, and then you said there are several definitions of cults from different backgrounds, the anthropological way and other versions. May you now take us through the definitions of a cult from different angles, apart from what we covered the other time.
The continuation.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. So today we continue from where we started. Remember, I took the primary definition given by the dictionary, encyclopedia. The second, which I said was the anthropological stroke sociological. The third, which I called the doctrinal definition of the term cult. So we are still continuing with what we call the primary definition. And I said cult is a term derived from cultus, which is a Latin farming term referring to cultivation. And I said cultivation has several processes. The first being preparing the ground. That a farmer does is equated to clearing the is equated to the brainwashing or deprogramming that takes place in cult. Someone comes with beliefs, someone comes believing rituals, someone comes with teachings, someone comes with understanding, then that person is brainwashed to believe he has been believing was wrong, so that that person is now ready to take on new beliefs, new teachings, new behaviors, new conduct, new rituals, new ideals. And I said that is the first process in the cultivation. Ground is prepared, manipulated, person is brainwashed, person is stupefied, person is deprived, person is criticized until that person abandons that. And then that person is ready for the implanting of new beliefs, new teachings, new rituals, new practices. I went on to the second bit of cultivation, the second process, which I termed as sowing seeds. And I said, sowing seeds that a farmer does is equated to the teachings or indoctrination or siasa that cult groups or cult leaders impart into their newfound followers. Some sessions are really long, some are day sessions, others are trans day, others are trans month night. You see people or even to evening and evening to dawn, someone gets mad at that group. Whenever you ask him, where are you going? I'm going to worship. Where are you going? Going to the teacher. There is new teaching. That's why people have landed into problems, because these people are taught in very long sessions. If someone has a shop, abandons the shop, the poultry farm, someone has a business, abandons that business because changing, about turning. Someone who used to be open becomes so lonely, becomes so conceited. Someone who open up now does not open up. Someone who used to be part of groups now withdraw from those groups and joins the new group. Someone's time gets eaten up by that group. So we call that a cult. Now, as I said, the second process that a farmer does is sowing a seed. Think of this. A man who was a wife is told the wife he has is not his wife. That man abandons that marriage. Then time down the road is told, this is your wife. And the man believes it, goes with the new wife. That's a cult. That is why there are so many relationship breakages in cults. That is why there are so many people who live alone. So many who used to have relatives start hating them. You see a nephew starting to hate an aunt, a nephew starting to hate an uncle, a niece hating an auntie or uncle. You see relationships broken, children hating their own parents, that they are the source of their troubles. They are the reasons why they are poor. They are the reasons why they are grassing. So all of that is happening because of indoctrination that takes place. And let me tell you, a cult may be political, like happens in Haiti and other countries. Italy, there was the mafia. Now look at cult as a broad thing. Look at these the Muslim, the Islamic based cults, where someone believes that if he kills in the name of God, that person goes to heaven, Jannah, straight away. So all that happens because of cults. Now, the teaching, let me just tell you this. If you go to Kakande's group, Kubili, the Synagogue Church of All Nations, the sessions are split from morning up to evening. If for men who have wives, they cook for themselves, because wives won't go back and cook. Now, just think of this. In simple terms, medicine is a necessity. We all fall sick. But if you go to a group and they tell you that you don't have to take medicine, but then they tell you that, but you can take holy water. Sometimes you even pay for it. Holy oil, holy rice, all of that. Let me tell you, doctor. This doctor passed on. He came to the Holy Church of Christ with that man called Kakande of the Synagogue Church of All Nations. Dr. Chimba was an elite man, a medical doctor who studied from Greece. He comes to the group. One day, Dr. Chimba is called onto the front and told, Dr. Chimba, you a doctor? Yes. Why do you put on second-hand coats, suits? Then Kakande went near him and said, it stinks. Then people laughed at him. And then he asked him, Why do you tell people that our water is unhealthy? That is the holy water, which would be drawn from that very place. So
Yes.
Dr. Chimba started shaking because they wanted to stupefy him. Putting on second hand, and then he says that our water does. So what do? They said, hey, we pray for him. They say, should we pray that he dies? Publicly, just think of this being paraded before 1,000+ people who are listening to your responses, your medical doctor, and the man who is just there to abuse you. Kakande, somewhere of the Synagogue Church of All Nations. So Dr. Chimba finally was told he is forgiven. He was told to go to Lake Victoria. For those who know Lake Victoria, there is this stream called Nachivubo Channel, where it joins Lake Victoria, where it flows into Lake Victoria. That's where he was told to go. Fetch a jerrycan of water, bring it to the Synagogue Church of All Nations, then still called the Holy Church of Christ. We are still either you bring it or you die. So the man brought it. And then Kakande came in the state of water. Pooh, spat in there. Then he spat again in his fingers and spat. Then when he spat, he in his fingers, then he smeared on and face. They told him to open his mouth. He opened his mouth and spat in there. Pooh! Then he got the water and told him to drink. He used the water again. Oh, the conduct of Kakana and his wife Lois again. Who has been stupefied to believe that education for him meant nothing. That now and could substitute for medication. That was in the Holy Church of Christ. Now the synagogue, headed by Kakana and his wife Lois, in my very presence. This is not what I was told, but it is what I was. That is Chimba was now.
You can imagine, we are listening into Pastor Male telling us a story where a doctor, a medical doctor, a government medical doctor, Chimba, trained in Greece, went ahead to be manipulated by an illiterate man called Pastor Kakande in his church, and he told him, he was castigating him openly before thousands of people, telling a medical doctor that actually he was putting on cheap clothes. The suit he was wearing is second-hand. Then he cautioned him and told him if he continues to tell people that the water, the so-called holy water from this man's church, Pastor Kakande's church, is not good water, the doctor was going to die. He told the doctor to go and get a jerrycan of water from Kazinga Channel, from Nachivubo Channel, a tributary of Lake Victoria. The gentleman went there, got that jerrycan, he brought it to church, and then this very pastor is seeing on the screen went ahead to spit using that water, and then he told the man that his sin had been forgiven. Now he's going to walk freely as a medical doctor who knows God. Now you can imagine this is manipulation. Pastor Male tells us that he was part of this church. And in fact, Pastor Male was the second in command in this church of Pastor Kakande. They were together. But now you can imagine the syndicating that was going on, the brainwashing, and then the stupefying. You make people look stupid. You intimidate people. This is what Pastor Malay is sharing with us in teaching us. How do cults work? Pastor Malay was clear that even when you have a PhD, even when you have a PhD, a doctorate, a master's degree, a bachelor's, whatever education you have, you can be made stupid in these churches. In fact, I want to give Pastor Mala another example of a doctor called Okello. No, I think it was a professor. A professor, I think, called Okello, joined Alice Lakwena, a professor of physics. A professor of physics joined Alice Lakwena to fight Museveni's government with by smearing themselves. Yes, sir. Alice Lakwena, an illiterate, got a professor of physics, yes, and got him into his army where they are going to fight the people having guns, and they are fighting them with smearing themselves with ghee and butter. And he told them that when you smear yourself with this stuff, no bullet will enter you. And the professor of physics from Makerere University was able to join an illiterate woman, Alice Lakwena, to go and fight a government that has tanks, that has helicopters, that has big guns. And for them, they're having arrows, and they have smeared themselves with ghee and butter, and of course, some oil. And they have told them that, look, once you smear yourself with this, no bullet is going to enter you. A professor with PhD and PhD in physics accepts a woman who never went to school to tell him that when you smear your body with this oil, with this ghee and butter, in fact, the bullets cannot enter your body. What happens? Thousands, hundreds of people were killed by government forces because they had become rebels, and they had been told by an illiterate woman, Alice Lakwena, that the bullets will not enter their bodies. Now, this is how cults use people. It doesn't matter whether you have a PhD. You may be a PhD holder who is stupid. You may be a medical doctor who is stupid. You may be a lawyer who is stupid. You may be a judge. I've seen judges that actually so poor logic. Judges of the High Court
can compel someone.
Pastor Male, continue. Continue. It's your show. Continue.
So, what I was trying to tell you was that the cults know no boundaries. They know no class. Whether you're educated or not, we are all. You get into that moment where you are desperate. Now, the water that Dr. Chimba drew from Lake Victoria was the one that was flowing through the natural channel. You know,
you go natural channel, the dirtiest channel right there.
To start using that channel, natural channel for the. I wish our producer could look for the natural channel and show it to the people. They would be surprised.
Yes.
The water there is condemned with the sewage. All toilets, most of the toilets drain into the channel. That is where Dr. Chimba drew the water from, brought to the church. Kakande spits in it. Okay, then he allegedly prays for it and then tells him, "You take it." He drinks it together with the Kakande's saliva in the mouth. That is brainwashing, stupefying a medical doctor who studied from Greece and Makerere University. He was a member formerly of the Orthodox Church. And besides, by the way, he was a theologian because he had also started studied Orthodox theology, that Dr. Chimba. So all of that combined, that is how he ended up. Sadly, he died. He never lived to tell the story that I'm telling you. Now, that is what we mean by cult. After brainwashing you, then they plant in you new practices, new rituals, new beliefs. You believe that drinking boiled water is the norm, then they tell you no, drinking boiled water is not the norm. You can take water from Nachivo channel, you can take any water, they turn it into holy water. And that's why we have so many epidemics that will not end, because people are being stupefied just like that, no matter the level of education. Now, 2, after sowing the seeds, rain may fall or rain may not fall. If rain falls, that means the crops will grow. But then if it doesn't fall, a prudent farmer will irrigate. Besides, rain may fall, but when the soil has lost its fertility, when the soil has lost its fertility, a prudent farmer adds fertilizers. Rain is supposed to fall to water the crops so that they grow. If it doesn't fall, prudence dictates that water the crops. So a prudent farmer, where there is drought, may water the crops. And a prudent farmer, where fertility has diminished in the land, he will fertilize with either artificial fertilizers or with manure, like I use chicken manure, cow dung, and so on and so forth. Now, in cults, the watering and the adding of new manure or fertilizers is equated to the cult process of new rituals, new practices, new prophecies, new teachings, new everything. So in cults, when standing practices, standing teachings, standard procedures, standard beliefs, when current beliefs or practices can no longer hold the group together, or can no longer hold members therein, can no longer detain members therein, then the leaders come up with new practices, new teachings, new rituals. And that is why you hear that in cults, prophecies after prophecy, new tricks are given, and so on and so forth. Let me tell you this. Years ago, Church of Catholic Church used on the 1st of January to thank God. Around 1987, 88, I'd surrendered my life to Christ. The practice was that throughout the year, members of the born-again churches come to church. When it comes to Christmas and the New Year, they go back to the traditional churches. That is Anglican and Catholics. Why would they go back? Because these groups were burying them. In born-again churches or Pentecostal churches, they were not talking about death. They were not talking about burying, because they were teaching God can heal. If God can heal, there cannot be death. And they always prophesying to their followers, thou shalt not die. So if followers died, they would not even announce that they had lost followers. They would just keep quiet, and then these mainstreamers would bury them. That's why members used to go back to the Anglican and Pentecostal churches and Catholic churches and Orthodox, because they were coming to Pentecostals for miracles, in quotes, because of despair. When it would come because of burial, that people have been taught that if you're not buried with the prayers, then you won't go to heaven. So they believe that stupidity. So they are bound because of the belief that they'll be prayed for when they are dead, which even makes no sense, because there are so many people who died during the war who were never even prayed for. Where are they? Even the martyrs of Namugongo, no one prayed for them because they murdered them, they burnt them for them when they were dying, or when they were burying them, or when they were burning them. So you see, they brought a lot of teaching. So what happened? I was one of the meetings. The question was, people come to church throughout the year, but when it comes to Christmas and the New Year, they go back to their churches, traditional churches. And when it comes to Easter, they also go back to their traditional churches. So they said, now, how do we retain them throughout the year so that they don't go back? Then they said, Church of Uganda, Catholic Church and Church of Uganda and Catholic Church, they celebrate the New Year on the 1st. Christmas, same day. So they said, now, what are we going to do? Now they invented the New Year Passover, New Year crossover. They said, if people go to church on the New Year, then let us waylay them on the 31st of the old year. Then get money, then they can go to church, their churches, on the 1st of the New Year. So they targeted them. That's how these New Year, the end of year, New Year prayer nights or night prayers were designed. So they started doing it. When the church and Anglican Church realized that people were no longer coming to church on the of January, what is so and so? No, they spent the night in Nambole. They spend the night in Nacho. They spend the night in Ukoro. They say, what do we do? Let us also shift. Let us also hold night prayers on the 31st up to the 1st. So that's how this of last prayer
They call them crossover, Passover, crossover, night prayers.
be held on Sundays. Services will be held on Sundays. I want to thank God. On Monday, the man of God prayed for us on Sunday. On Monday, I got men. Then another testifies, I want to go 5 million shillings or 500,000. So testimonies of money were coming up. Now these men and women were looking at the basket. Someone testified he got $1 million tithe. That is 10%. You see, they teach them to tithe on gross. So they say 10% through the envelopes and sees no 100,000. Then he says, so these people are cheating God. Then they would start teaching in Malachi, you cheat God, you cheat God, his tithes and offerings. Come now, bring it in the house of God and see if I'll not give you plenty. So now, I say now, if people get money on Monday, if they stay with it throughout the week, by Sunday, they will not have it. So they say, let's have midweek services. So that's
They
now,
begin to have midweek services,
still,
lunch
a
hour
pastor
services.
would testify that I got money on Tuesday. It's not there. See the tithe. The tithe. Give them too much time. He started teaching them that if you use the tithe twice, 2 times, still people were eating the tithe. So they said, now what do we do? I think let us start more services. Tuesday, evening glory. Wednesday, evening glory and counseling. Thursday, then Sunday, still people would testify. He got money in the morning. Okay? By evening, the pastor or leader eat the money during lunch hour or break time. So they said, let us start also morning glory. They started morning glory. Still people were testifying that I got money in the morning, by evening it's not there. They said, how do we get that money midday? So they said, let us have lunch hours. That's how lunch hours also evolve. You just go all over the country and see, are there lunch hours in the rural areas where the cash economy is barely there?
No.
You won't find them.
No.
Where are these lunch hours, evening glory, morning glory? Where are they? They were for with money every now and then. So if you get money in the morning, if you get it in the afternoon, you give it evening time. If you get it in the night, you give it morning glory. That's how they divided, so that people can be exploited every money that they get. And they are told that never come to God's house empty-handed. So if you come in the morning, you give. Entity called the church is actually minting money when the parishioners are fervently going there, hoping to be prayed for to get out of them. All of that is termed the cult. The new teachings, new tricks. How do we get money from people? How do we retain them? Let us have Passovers, crossovers. Now, Church of Uganda has crossover. Catholic Church has crossovers. Pentecostals, crossovers. Night prayers, there. Where the masses, they all think when they go there, they'll see God. And that's is renting money and telling the fools, you go back, you'll come again next day. They live smart with money in their pockets or in their coffers. New tricks. I talk how we went to Sheraton Hotel. Lois, very good robes. Kakanda also saw a suit. So they told Brother Malik, we are going to buy those things. The shop was Winner Classic at Sheraton. We would sit with Kakanda and his wife Lois to see how we are going to manipulate the followers, on Sunday. So that day, Kakande told me, Brother Malik has told us to sow a seed of faith. So we agreed. Next Sunday, we go to church. That was Nakasero Secondary, just opposite Hotel Equatorio. And then after Kakande takes to the podium, he tells them, God told us that we saw a seed of faith. How many of you know a seed of faith? Very few hands were risen. Then he said, Brother Mali, these people don't understand the seed of faith. I'm a Brother Magezi. Come and tell them what happened when you saw the seed of faith. So Brother Magezi comes up. First and foremost, he's told of song. And how did he come up? He starts, it was Uganda. We are going to start with a song. Tukaindura, oh, tukaindura, 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 dora, oh, abale, tukaindura, oh, tukaindura. There are even these, you know, my voice can't match it. But here, when these women, especially the Basoka and Batoro, excited, then share testimony. Praise God and praise the Lord. When I came to Holy Church of Christ, I was a very poor. Then one day, pastor and prophetess told us to sow a seed of faith. We were in Julie Park. I had 5,000 in my pocket. One spirit was telling me, sow it. Another was telling me, don't sow it. Now, then I said, you Satan, don't block me from sowing my money. Then he said, when I sold that 5,000 shillings, by the close of day, I had a 500,000 shillings. Brother Magen, stop there. This is now Kakande telling him. Then he turns, Brother Mali, tell me, you saw a seed of faith. Lunchtime. Okay, let us say yesterday. Okay, let us say a week back. Let's even say a month back. You saw 5,000 shillings. And then you reap 500,000 shillings. What multiple is that? Then the church choruses, the believers chorus, 100 times. Then he says, how many of you want to sow seed of faith? Hey! They raise up hearts. How many of you want to sow it now? Then they stand up. Hey! No, we're not a seed of faith today. Hey! What do you want? We sow now. Then he said, no. You go back, prepare your seed of faith. We go to the scriptures. He reap bountifully, will reap bountifully. Then we go to another scripture. In tears, will reap in joy. People are told, you go and prepare your seeds. You know what that would mean? If you and multiplied 100 times, people were just thinking of how do I, what can I get, and multiplied 100 times. There are people who had businesses. They went away and sold off their properties at giveaway prices. Those who had lands, pieces of land they were selling, sell it at giveaway price, bring the money hoping it will be multiplied 100 times. So, following Sunday, people come in with a lot of money. His wife with her bag, then the briefcase, Kakande's briefcase, then each had a bag, so they brought them. Just after a few words, Kakande says, how many of you remember what God told us to do? Hey, what did he tell us to do? Sow seed of faith. How many of you want to sow seed of faith? Hey! Then he says, I think God is so unfair. I want to pray so that he allows us more time. We go back and prepare. Then, no! What is it? We want to sow now. Because people were thinking they were going to sow and reap. So, don't you want to come and say, no. We sow now. How many of you want to sow now? No. Brother Mali, I think let me pray. Oh, Heavenly Father. No, Pastor, don't pray. What? We want to sow now. You see, people manipulated, people stupefied, people brainwashed. They are actually thief to rob them. Thief to rob them. Don't wait to rob us next week. So people would give. And at the end of the day, when they've got ripped them off, then they start saying, hey, then they casted, they stage a miracle, they stage an exorcism moment where they are casting demons out of people, which was also staged. So now they say, sija kugenda, you'll go. It's dead. It's now in the breast. It's now in the stomach. It's been we are My
It's
friend.
drama in
Eh?
the church. Drama
So
in the
now,
church.
then after that moment of, say, demon casting ritual, then they tell the followers, no one should leave until we've left. If you dare to stand up before we leave and enter our vehicle and leave, those that we've cast out of these people will enter you.
Pastor Maya, they are taking us through how cults work in Uganda. When you listen to him, what you learn is that a cult leader enters your site, occupies your brain, and takes it over. That people willingly are yearning to be helped. I mean, they go to the thief, and the thief takes them their money. This is Kazinga channel. Thank you, the producer, for showing us these images. Pastor Mali talked about a medical doctor who was told by a pastor, a medical doctor in Uganda, a medical doctor practicing in the biggest hospital in Uganda, was told to go to this channel. It's called Nativo channel, right in the middle of the city, to go to this channel and pick a jerrycan of water and take it to church and end up basically drinking water from such a channel. A medical doctor who knows that this is bad water is told by a pastor to go and pick this water in a jerrycan and actually takes it to church and ends up using such dirty water. Now, this is Kazinga channel. I mean, this is a Nachivo channel. It's the water which is dirty. The pastor was telling us a story where a medical doctor was told to go and pick water right from that channel, take it to church, and ends up using that water. Now, if you can stupefy a medical doctor who went to Greece to study medicine and learned nothing because he can be manipulated by an illiterate pastor, then how can you help other people if even the educated ones are simply fooled by pastors? Pastor Mali has been able to carefully give us so many examples to the extent that people go to church and psychologically pastors enter their heads. Psychologically, they enter their heads and manipulate them that they are willing to be stolen. They are always asking the pastor to take their money. Please take our money. Take our money now. Take our money now. Take our money now. Pastor Male has told us that actually they have invented all sorts of schedules for prayers, night prayers, lunch hour prayers, weekend prayer, crossover, Passover, all these prayers. You know, people go to church nighttime, people go to church any time of the day. And what are the pastors doing? They're asking for money. Remember, pastors are not taxed. Churches are not taxed. They are getting free money from people. They tell to take such dirty water from such a channel of dirty water passing through the capital city of Uganda, that is Nachivo channel. And a pastor tells people to go and pick water right from that channel and basically take it to church and end up using such water. Now, if you can fool people to that extent, that is a cult. What we're doing in this episode today is to showcase to you how cults work. A cult enters your brain because Pastor Mike told you that a cult is to cultivate. They will cultivate on your ignorance. They will cultivate on your fear. They manipulate you and cultivate you into something that does not question. You don't question anything the pastor tells you. This is what Pastor Mike today is teaching us, telling you with examples as a pastor who has been in church and have seen people being taken for granted, manipulated. Is telling you how the pastors are using you. So wake up in this show to know how do pastors make a medical doctor go to a channel like this, pick water and use it. A medical doctor using such infected water. Back to Pastor Male to continue with the show. Pastor Male, back to you.
As I was saying, that is the Nachivo channel. that we've just been taught, which drains the entire city with sewage. That's where Dr. Chimba, where it pours into the is where he was told to draw water from. A medical doctor. Now, we at Holy Church of Christ, people have been relieved that you dare do so, then all the demons that we've cast out of these people will enter you. However much if you may, you would fear contracting the demons in quotes, because they were not demons. Thieves would fear to go after Kakana and his wife Lois, because they were taking away the booty. So that's how they succeeded, robbing people, ripping them off, and enriching themselves. Today Kakande is too rich, stinking wealthy, but after using all those exploitative tricks. So actually what I want you to know is that tricks, what Iga used to do, he would pay for people to give testimonies. What does Kakande do? Pay people to give testimonies. Pastor Robert Kayanja of the Miracle Center do? Pay people to give testimonies. What does Bishop Patrick Makumbi do of Rweza? Pay people to give testimonies. Today, in many spheres of religion, miracles are staged, testimonies are doctored, and testimonies affect. Miracles affect people. If you Benny Hinn came to Kampala in 2007. The lame went, the crippled went, the blind. Francis Adro. This is a woman who had been the kingdom. Me that Pastor Benin is coming. I understand he's performing. I told her
miracles faked, prayers manipulated, and everything is stage managed in these churches, as Pastor Maleng demonstrates. Now, if a pastor is telling you this, and if Human CV Africa is giving you this exposure, this detailed analysis of someone who was part of these churches.
To Nambole.
Yes, Pastor Maya there. The network is challenging us a bit, but Pastor Maya continues to tell us
this lady
how
Francis Adro goes to Nambole.
Work. I can hear you. Continue, Pastor. Continue.
You can hear me.
Yes.
So now there is a French journalist called the French journalist who came to Uganda following.
Pastor, they are being changed by the network. Remember, this is Human CV Africa, and we are live. We are live in broadcast live. Our shows are not recorded. Our shows are live, straight from the field. Pastor Male is based in Uganda. Right now, we have internet challenges, but he has been able to expose to you how CULTS do work in Africa. He has been able to give examples in Uganda. He has been able to give examples in Nigeria. He has given examples in Ghana. He has given examples in Kenya. Personally, basically, is touching here and there, exposing to you how CULTS work and how pastors enter into the psyche. They enter into the mind of a stupefied believer to make them do absurdities. Personally, I just told you how educated people in Uganda are being misled by pastors. I just told you that pastors today are too rich. They are billionaires. They have so much wealth. And where do they get this money? From people who are gullible, from people who are both educated and illiterate, from the poor and from the rich. The pastors get this money from them. They make them servants to the church. People were thinking about going to church from Monday to Sunday, lunch hour prayers, night prayers, weekend prayers. Every time is a prayer time. These churches have made it a business to operate in Africa. And because of that, Africa's economy is basically going down. Many of our economies are going down because people are not working. People are not working to do things that bring in money. People are selling their properties and take money to churches. Also, Pastor Mike today, I talked about the Muslim factions. If you have been listening, how mosques, how some of these imams actually will brainwash children, people into getting suicidal, into doing crimes that you are killing in the name of Allah. So when you talk about crowds, it's not about churches only. Crowds actually go even in the political sphere. They even go to religions such as Islam and other religions, SDA. These are cults. Cults are spread all over. So when you talk about cults, do not think it's about churches only, because personally has been part of the churches. No, cults go beyond the churches. Cults are into Islam, mosques, imams, madrasa schools are also cults, indoctrinating young people into suicide bombers, into killers. They think killing a Christian, killing a non-religious person, killing someone who's not Muslim is a good thing. It's going to give you a passport to Jannah, to heaven. These are cults. So as we discuss cults in this episode, we want to take note that cults basically make you think that what your pastor, what your leader, what your imam is telling you is the absolute truth. And cults do not give you a chance to ask questions. This is why we are here as Smart TV Africa to help you understand how cults work and you start questioning things. Pastor Mali is back. Pastor Mali continue. Pastor Mali is back and I can continue towards concluding the show. Pastor Mali, back to you.
As I was telling you, that no matter how much you would have wanted to rob the booty that the Kakandes had robbed, you wouldn't get them. So actually, that is the trick. And all over, that is the trick. That is why you see so many prophecies, new teachings, new rituals, new practices. I was telling you about base to Uganda. This lady, Francis Adroa, has just been called of her
Yeah, Pastor, they are being challenged by the network, but so far we have heard from him. Much of it in the show. He was able to share with us how do cults work.
She went. But then there is this lady called France to Uganda. Anuk Batad had come to and asks me, somebody, are there going to be any miracles in Namboli? Miracles. What is so unfortunate is the media. Because New Vision Monitor was performing miracles in Namboli. And
right there with Pastor Malen, giving us an example of how cults do work in Uganda. Pastor Malen has written a book on cults. a book to expose how cults work. We need this kind of books to come out to help people understand. The program is called The Bitter Truth. And of course, today's episode is Understanding Cults with Pastor Solomon Moses Maleng, a pastor in Uganda who has volunteered to work with people to be able to educate them and learn to run away from cults. And we are saying cults are many, cults are in different denominations of churches, cults are in Islamic mosques, cults and political parties. Cults are everywhere. Whenever you find a cult, anything that doesn't allow you to question stuff, anything that indoctrinates you and make you do things that must be done their way, committing absurdities becomes a cult, because a cult is not questioned. A cult conditions you into thinking in a particular direction. That's what a cult does. So we are in the introductory phases of this big topic. What are cults? We are understanding cults. We have been defining them from the anthropological point of view, sociological point of view. Then we shall be looking at cults from different angles. How do cults work? Remember, cults do work in USA. Cults have been working in Canada. Cults have been working in Japan, in India. Cults are everywhere. Do not think that cults are African specific. Cults are everywhere. We have seen them. We have seen these people killing people. These pastors killing people in the Western countries. Reverend Jim Jones, they are killed thousands of people over the years. You see these cults mushrooming in USA, People's Temple, right there. We've seen these cults going beyond actually USA, when these pastors have been able to move around the world and kill people. Yeah, remember Jim Jones, one of the cult leaders right there. And how many people did he kill? Quite many, and including an American senator end up dying in some of these cults. Jim Jones, right here. So we have seen that even the Americans have been gullible to cults. So I've seen cults all over the world. We have seen these pastors doing very many incredible, bizarre things, things that are so bad to people. We have seen imams, we have seen sheikhs, indoctrinate people to even use bombs to detonate themselves, commit suicide. So cults are everywhere. It's not always into the churches. It's everywhere. But Pastor Malik, we're going to be concluding today's show with cults, and then in the next show, we shall continue from where we have stopped. Pastor Mary, back to you as we look forward to a conclusion to this show today. Pastor Mary, back to you. Pastor Mary, if you can hear me, we would like to hear from you. Your concluding remarks. Today, we are watching cults. We are, of course, on the screen are cults from different parts of the world. We have seen cults in Kenya, where hundreds of people have been killed in Kenya by Mackenzie. We have seen cults in the US. We have seen, yes. Pastor Male, continue. Pastor Male, continue.
In 2007, hello?
Pastor Male, continue. I can hear you. Please continue. Continue. Pastor Male, continue.
Yeah, let's get to Nambole, 2007. Now, I told Anouk Batad to go. She told me she wanted to know if Benny Hinn was going to perform any miracles in Kampala. I told her, you go, but you won't get any miracles. So she went, and I told her, before you go, mark this. When you see people testifying, mark them. At the end of the day, get their contacts. When Benny Hinn is gone, they mark. So Anouk Batad goes to Nambole with her camera. When she gets to Nambole, because she's a French woman, she gets into the stadium. Now, when testimonies begin, and Anouk Batad positioned herself to take photographs and to record and to get the contacts. So she goes to be part of the press unit that was there. As she was taking photos and getting the contacts of these people, then Mascula men came to her and told her, "You, who told you to come here? I'm a journalist, French journalist." "Yes, you're a French journalist. Why are you taking photos? Who gave you permission to get the recordings? Who gave you permission to get the..."
Yeah, we can see
pulled her
the
out of the
media.
stadium and told her never to return to Nambole. Never to return to Nambole. Allow you to and to get contacts, knowing that after their death, no miracles are performed. These people are paid to run. And these fraudsters are paying a lot of money to the media to run after Benny Hinn's departure. I think it was 2 weeks. JCRC, Joint Clinical Mengo. It was these young people had gone to Nambo. These believe that the medication had been told to believe that they had been cured. Told a testimony that when they went to Nambole, they were told that if they want to be healed, they have to believe that they are healed and they'll be healed, and they did so. Miracle is the trick. Get people to testify that they are cured. Get people to testify that they are enriched. Pay money. So one of the tricks today in these groups is to pay money to people who must come as needy people, lame people, crippled, blind, HIV, fraudsters, and so on and so on, night dancers or cannibals, so that after the session can testify that they are cured. That's one trick of pulling crowds onto the group. I've said when current teachings, practices, theologies, testimonies, and so on and so forth can no longer hold the group together or can no longer hold members therein, then they come up with new teachings, new beliefs, new practices, new rituals, new tricks to make people held in there. That's what qualifies them for a cult. That practice to them practice of
It is true. Customer there, right there. Okay. We are going to conclude this show. Network has been a bit of a challenge as we get to the end of the show, but Pastor Mal, because I've been able to share with us much of what was planned for today. We want thanks, Pastor Mal, so much.
When weeds grow.
Yes, Pastor, continue. Personally, yes, we are going to
Hello?
conclude this show. Personally, I want you to give us a conclusion for today's show. We shall continue from there in the
Hello?
next episode. I'm sure you have been able to give us the best version of episode 2. I'm able to learn from you, and I do believe and, of course, think that many of our viewers have been able to learn from
Okay.
you in this show. Pastor Mari, I want us to conclude this show today. I think you have done justice for today. Episode 2, you have done justice. There was network problems, of course, but you have done justice to the show. I want you to please give us a conclusion for this show, and then give us highlights, or take us give us a peeping into the next show. What do you expect in the third episode? But the second episode was really good. You have handled it very well. You have gone ahead to expose how psychologically the pastors enter into the brains of even the educated people to make them look like uneducated ones, look like illiterates. You know, a medical doctor being fooled to take dirty water from Nachivubo channel. A medical doctor, a one Dr. Kimba, was actually fooled by cows. Cows do fool people, and cows are in different versions. They're in mosques, imams, sheikhs, are chaotic, full people, politicians, full people, religious leaders, full people. So many people take people for granted. Whatever makes you avoid questioning stuff and they don't give you time to think, it becomes a couch. So, Pastor Malik, let us conclude this show. Thank you so much for being part of us. Give us a conclusion for this show, but also tell us what to expect in the third episode. Pastor Malik, over to you. Pastor Malik, back to you. Pastor Malik is at home. We do this show right from his compound. When you hear the birds making noise, Pastor Malik is a farmer. Pastor Malik, go ahead.
Yeah. I rear chicken, I hatch chicken. Have a hatchery. If you have eggs, you want them hatched, you bring them. If you want the old chicks, broilers, or even if you want brooded broilers, you can come book with us and we'll give them to you. And even if you want good animals, you can from us. I decided with the quality because I.
Yes, that is Pastor Malik. Pastor Malik is a poultry farmer. He hatches chicks, and of course, he can sell you hens and cocks, and of course, he is a good farmer there in terms of chicken feeds. The guy to meet. The numbers of Pastor Malik are right on the screen. You can always contact him. Pastor Malik is an author of different books, including a book that exposes cows, and I would like to encourage you to please look up his book. Today, it was episode 2, where Pastor Mali was taking us through cows, and we shall be having him back in episode 3. Pastor Mali, your conclusion for today. Your conclusion for today, please. Go ahead and conclude.
Yes, as I'm concluding, I'm telling you, everyone is gullible. No matter what you are, who you are, where you are, what you are, we are all gullible. All you have to do is to be sure and steady. Know what you believe. Know who you are. Don't simply go for appearances. Don't go for miracles. Don't be attracted by all these cooked up stories. Read and understand. If you're Christian,
thank you so much, Pastor Mali, for that.
And greedy God,
yes,
these people display or manifest. So these are thieves. God is not a liar. These are liars. God is not fake. These are fake. Why should you lose your life? Why should we continue losing our loved ones? As we commemorate 24 years of the massacres, of the death in Kanungu, where innocent, helpless, desperate women, men, and children lost their lives in fire and flames of Kanungu, then we should also think much about what we believe. Could be you in a cult and you believe you're in a church. Could be you in a cult and you believe you're okay. Could be you are the next target of that group you are in and you don't know. The truth will set you free. I want to wish you all the best until we meet again. Follow my teachings, follow our teachings, and I want to thank God for the Humanist TV for coming out to say no. Let us equip people. I don't mind what you believe and how you believe. My concern is your health, your life, your welfare. And that is what God emphasizes, the welfare of the masses, of the people. That's why he called us to be good Samaritans. Why should you be robbed in the name of God? Why should you be robbed in the name of Jesus? Why should you be manipulated to lose family, to lose your parents, to lose everything, to even lose people who would be there by you in times of need? And then you go to these criminals who are ruthless, who are heartless, whose only goal is to enrich themselves. You go to them and you give them everything. When you're totally done, they discard you. They've nothing to do with you. May God bless you and may he give you wisdom. May he give you discernment so that you may know between the truth and lies, between good and bad, between what is worthy and what is unworthy. I know they are going to peddle out there, Malay, he's just antichrist, anti-what? Let me be antichrist if that is what they label me. But I won't keep quiet as people continue to be ripped off, stupefied, duped, and ruined in the name of the Lord, in the name of God, in the name of Jesus, in the name of the divine. I'll stand until I'll die. May God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Mukasa, for the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Male. Pastor Male, you are the best here in this show. We learn from you, and we always want to have you here and educate us, educate the public, because you are the only person from the religious sector that can actually talk the truth. People normally shy away from talking about the things we talk about. Thank you so much, sir. We shall, of course, have you back in episode 3 of the same topic, cults, and how to beat cults, how to avoid cults. Thank you so much, Pastor Male. Our viewers, that is Pastor Male. The numbers of Pastor Male are on your screen. The telephone numbers are on your screen. You can support him. He's a book writer, as an author, authored different kind of books, and of course is a poetry farmer. You can contact him for business, but also you can support his book work. Thank you so much. Thanks for the production of the show.
Before you go, there is a young girl. He's about 13. I just got a story yesterday. This young girl is being brutalized by the caretaker. The mother abandoned her. The father, she doesn't even know where he is. And she's badly in need. When I heard the story from her sister, whom I employ, I said, I think there may be need to help that girl so that we rescue her and then take her over and see to her education. If there are people of good heart out there who can support, Malay does not only rear chicken, Malay does not only teach about cults, but I've been able to support many young people pursue their careers, pursue their education. Even right now at my home, I have a victim of homosexuality, a victim of pedophilia, whom I'm catering for. We're educating. He's sitting his P7 today. I mean this year. There are others we caretake. But I also have restrained resources. If there are people out there with money who can support, I usually support these children from where they are. Sometimes you try to move them. It's not easy. It's not that I have money, that I have the heart. But I have the heart. And I think I've been honest enough. If you can support, whoever has something he or she can contribute toward that cause, I'll be very ready to receive it and then see how we can help this young little girl. Actually, the story I had, her own sister got 6 aggregates in P7, but could not continue with her studies because of the brutalization, and she went into maiden working. She's working as a maid. She's just about 14, 15. And then the young one, same story. When I heard the story, because she told me yesterday, I felt hurt and I said, what do I do? I don't have money to cater for both of them. If I had, I would. But can we cater for that one who's still in school, and then see how we can help them? What I decided was to help this one at least set up a poultry project. Then the other pursues the education. That's what is in my mind. I'm still working out. I don't know how best it will come out. But if there are people out there, if you have the
Thank you, Pastor Male.
heart, you have the money. Those two numbers of money, you can also together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Male. I'll get back to you on this point of helping young girls in trouble. Of course, our NGO has been doing some bit of helping, but we're a bit down because of other factors. But I'll get back to you, and we discuss more about the way forward of supporting some of these girls. Perhaps in 3 months' time here, from now, we shall be having a program that is going to help them at a certain vocations training we are setting up to give them some training. But I'll get back to you on this. And of course, our viewers, if you can help Pastor Male, please send your money, your contribution on those numbers, because Pastor Male has a ministry that helps young people in need. The reason why basically Human Civil Africa works with Pastor Male, because Pastor Male does the real work pastors should do. It is to pastor, it is to empower people out of trouble, not to steal from them. Pastor Male, what he does is to empower people in problems, not to steal from them, but to give them. That's why we host him here, to be able to work with him, because what he does is what we want to do. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening and, of course, watching this show. We shall be back with Pastor Male on Sunday. Of course, we shall continue from where I have stopped, and we shall find ways to try to help these girls. I'm saying maybe in 3 months' time, our vocation should be running up well, and again, we shall be able to take some of these girls and try to give some bit of help. But we need your help. Whoever's watching, we need to help these girls in trouble. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next show. Bye-bye.